Okay, so today I'm going to demonstrate how to trim a foot rim, the bottom of like a cup. This is a mug and it already has a handle on it, but just pretend that it's not there. And it's just like a cup to show you how to like kind of trim the foot rim. One thing that's really important before you actually start trimming is that you know how thick your floor is, or the base of your piece. So that way when you're trimming on the bottom side of it, that you don't trim through it. So that's really important. So you can kind of put your hand in there and just kind of feel and know that, feel that thickness. So I know I have about that much. So I know if I go down, a 1/4 inch, I'll still have plenty of floor. So that's really important. So to trim your piece, first thing you'll need to do is actually recenter it on the wheel. So what you want to do is try to find as close to center as possible. Place your piece upside down. And I'm going to spin the wheel nice and slow. And I'm going to take my needle tool, and with it spinning, I'm going to just hold the needle tool up next to it and see where it hits the piece. Wherever it hits the piece, that's the part that's furthest away from center, and I need to push the piece in the opposite direction. So the needle tool touched it here, so I need to push it in that direction. It looks like I got pretty close to center. Yeah. So once the needle tool is dragging across the whole piece, that means it's like pretty centered. So now I'm going to stop the wheel. I've got four small balls of kind of stiff clay. If you take some clay out of your bag and just, kind of like work it a little bit, it'll stiffen it up. That's good. So I'm going to just flatten like two sides of it. So I'm going to take it and put it on opposite sides of my piece. And my piece is what's called like mid to like late leather hard. So it's kind of firm, right? I never want to trim when it's like too soft. I never want to trim when it's like bone dry. But I'm taking these little balls of clay here. Instead of pushing them in, it could really warp the piece and possibly break it. So I'm actually going to just press down and just kind of snug them up at the same time up next to the piece. Okay, but really make sure that the little balls of clay are stuck to the wheel. And so I'm going to flatten one side, flatten another side, push that up next to the piece. And again, I'm not going to press in too much because that could really distort and warp the form. Press down. Make sure it's snug. Okay, so now I'm ready to trim. So the two tools that you're really going to need for this are your large ribbon tool and your small ribbon tool. I really like this one the most. I use this more than any of the others. I like the really big round area, so I'm going to start with that. So I'll show you what I like to do. So I go right in here to the middle, and I start to work towards 3 o'clock. What I want to do first is just make sure this is nice and flat, what I call like an even playing field. So I take this back little corner of the large round part, press down slowly, and notice the wheel's going nice and slow. I don't have it going very fast. I'll speed it up a little bit more. So I go down like this angle, and then I start to flatten out and I go out towards 3 o'clock. Notice that I have both hands on the tool. So I have a really nice grip on it, and I am also holding the rest of the tool. If this were a different tool, I would still probably hold my hand. So that way I have more control. So nice flat bottom. And from here now, you might want to think about like where you want the foot rim to be. So one thing you might want to do is draw lines on it with your needle tool, with it spinning, to kind of have barriers for like where you're gonna carve on the inside, trim on the inside, and then trim on the outside. So I'm kind of feeling here. I think my foot rim is gonna be about right here and here. Okay, so I'm gonna take off the outside part first. And this might change, this is not permanent. If I feel like I'm trimming and I get to a form that I like, then I might adjust So I think, yeah, that'll work. And because this is a mug and I already have the handle on it, I gotta be careful that I don't bump that while it's spinning. So I'm just working here at the top part. Let's see if that matches. Okay. Alright, so I've trimmed to my inner line, or I'm sorry, my outer line. Now I'll go into the middle, work towards 3 o'clock, and then I'll lift up once I get to that other line. So right towards 3 o'clock, so I get right to that line, I stop, and I'll do that again. And this is where I like to take squared off end of the small loop tool. And again, notice how I'm holding it nice and firm. And these are great for doing detail. You know, so I would recommend just kind of exploring the carving tools a little bit. You might find that you like the rounded end, you know, like the detail that you can get from the rounded end next to the foot rim. And I just soften those edges a little bit where I carved. And flatten that just a touch more. Get rid of that, and I'm going to take a damp sponge and just kind of smooth that over. And if you also want to use like your rib, like your metal rib, like this, this is another nice way of like doing some carving. So I'm going to just take a little bit off the inside here with this.